My friends, this summer spending ain't stopping anytime soon. Breaking news this afternoon. We have now activated Michael Olise's release clause and we are now set to sign the Crystal Palace Wonderkid. I'm going to break down his game to explain why we have to sign Olise this window, and to end things we discuss potential player exits we should expect before the window closes. So right now, my friends, these are truly unprecedented times. We may never see spending like this again in our lifetime, but for me, this is incredibly essential spending, and it is one of these moments that every football fan dreams of. So my friends, if you guys are pumped by this news, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions. But before we go on, today's video is brought to you by Parimatch. Football is now well and truly back underway, and what better way to kickstart a new season than with £40 in free bets? That's right, guys. Our friends at Parimatch UK are offering their new customers £40 in football free bets once you place your first £10 bet with them. Now, to claim this offer is very simple. Simply create a Parimatch account and opt into the promotion. Once you do that, then place a £10 bet on any football market of odds or even above within 7 days of opening your account. Full terms and conditions apply, with full links provided below in the description. So thank you to Parimatch UK for sponsoring today's video. So now, my friends, let's break down the massive reports surrounding Michael Olise. We have activated his 35 million release clause, and I guess we now understand that this release clause was always set at £35 million. Prior reports suggested that it might be above 35, but I guess if you're Crystal Palace, you don't want this information to be like accessible in public, so it only makes sense that they keep things a bit private in those regards. But regardless, my friends, now that we have activated Olise's 35 million release clause, we don't have to talk to Crystal Palace. And the great news is we have already got the yes from Olise. He rejected Man City to sign for us, and it's nice that we have this pull power in the market now. Obviously, we know Caicedo and Lavia turning down Liverpool, and Olise turning down Man City, turning down Pep Guardiola to come and sign for us. I mean, we really are capturing all the young players' hearts in football right now, and it makes a lot of sense because a lot of these guys would have grown up seeing us as one of the powerhouses in European football, winning the Champions League, domestic silverware, great players that capture their minds and hearts, like your Hazards, your Drogbas. Is really important when you have these types of generational talents at your club, because they inspire the next generation to want to follow in their footsteps, right? He has already agreed personal terms to a long-term contract. Now, we have no numbers behind the contract just yet, but you can imagine that it's probably going to be like 7+1 years or 8+1 years. Currently, all parties are coming together to get this deal completed, and it seems like we are paying the full 35 million in one go instead of overpaying and paying in installments. And for me, it makes more sense to do this because Olise has competition, and it's best to get this guy quickly off the market instead of encouraging competition and bids to come in. Now, we have to say a big thank you again to Joe Shields for playing a very big part in persuading Olise to sign. Obviously, Olise has spent time at our club, in our academy. He has a soft spot for us in his heart, and I like to think that when he signs for us, we are going to see him start to celebrate on the field, show a bit more smiles, a bit more personality. We know how this guy can be. I'm not going to lie, I like his personality. I like how the kid moves. But my friends, one thing we must remember is that currently Olise is still out with injury. However, he is recovering very well, and he's expected to come back now at the end of September. Now, we're okay with this because Noni is now back. Noni had injuries throughout pre-season, but it was nice to see him on the sub bench against Liverpool. And I feel like we'll be ready to wait for Olise to come, because Raheem Sterling can also play on the right hand side and the left hand side too. Olise broke the Crystal Palace assist record last season by getting over 9 assists. He got 11 assists for the season. To do that at 21 years old, you're signifying that you are a special talent. And when you see how this guy moves on the ball, the silkiness, the creativity, the deadliness and precision from set pieces, he is someone that can find even new levels. And I have to say, his under-21 tournament was very exciting, very good, and he was very unfortunate to pick up that injury. But my friends, before I move on, we have slight new updates. Now that we've decided to make moves for Olise, does that mean that we say goodbye now to Kudus? We have small updates around this. As we know, West Ham now are one of the front runners to try and sign him. Kudus rejected Brighton, and Brighton didn't accept the deal because Kudus, of course, wanted a release clause if he was to sign for them. But he is someone that we are still hovering behind the scenes for. There's no clarification yet to determine whether we make an outright move for him, but I kind of see the situation like this. Now, one thing we can't forget is that Kudus has played most of this year playing up front as a striker, and he's one of those players that can play in a multitude of positions to a very, very high level. Now, we don't know yet whether we sign another attacker on top of Olise. Some reports suggest that Pochettino is more than content to keep Broja here, but for the sake of FFP, could we decide to cash in on Broja if it meant that we had to safeguard ourselves financially? That wouldn't surprise me. AC Milan expressed interest in him, but right now things have stalled and deaded at this point in time. But we are still keeping a watchful eye over Mohamed Kudus, and in my opinion, I see it like this. It makes no sense for us now to make a move first, because if we do so, that's only going to increase his price due to competition. We know that a 34.5 million fee was accepted by Ajax, and if we're still deciding on whether to make a move for him now, it makes sense for other clubs to come in with bids, and if they have their bids accepted, we know that if we then decide to sign Kudus, we can match any offer, and if we do so, most likely we sign him because we did agree unofficial personal terms with the player like nearly a month ago, and of course that offer is still on the table, so we keep a watchful eye out to see if we sign both players. But my friends, Michael Olise, we are signing one of the premium young talents in the league. And for the next part, I do want to discuss this game a little bit. I'm going to use FB Ref, and I hope you guys enjoy this segment of the video. Now, as we can see here, his numbers are looking quite nice. He's ranking in the 93rd percentiles for things like assists, very decent percentiles for shot creating actions. And we have to remember he's at Crystal Palace. Palace don't have a guy that scores 20 plus goals a season. Their top scorer normally is a midfield player, and they get around 10 to 12 goals a season. So there's context here, but I want to break down interesting parts about this game. As I keep stressing, the perfect hybrid player is someone that can play on the right wing when he has to, but can also move in field. So essentially playing like a hybrid role between a right winger and a number 8. We saw Sterling do decent at that against Liverpool, but I think Olise takes this role to a different level. And this is why I'm going to be comparing his midfield attack stats compared to his winger stats, because I think that's more reflective of what to expect from Olise this season. We want a player that is able to go out wide when he needs to, but has the quality to drift infield at times to be more of a creative outlet and solution for the team. If you have a Reece James bombing down the right hand side, making overlaps, Olise with his ability to play those balls in behind lines, line breaking passes, depth balls over the top, that opens new creative avenues for our team. And let's actually break down this guy's game. I mean, looking at his ranks compared to attacking mids and midfield players too, because Olise played a lot of games on the right hand side of a midfield 3 at Crystal Palace. Look at his numbers in terms of midfield players. Look at the assist records, goals and assist percentiles. Look at his expected assists, non-penalty goal expected assists. Incredible numbers we're seeing right here. Progressive passes received. This guy's combo play with Eze near the second half of last season at Crystal Palace. Olise was one of the best young players in the league last season by a considerable mile, my friends. But wow, look, key passes, at least 2.36 played per game. Expected assists, look how high these ranks are. And obviously passes into the penalty area and crosses into the penalty area. This type of distribution is key for the system because Pochettino encourages a lot of third man runs inside that box. So if you're going to have Olise in the De Bruyne positions in the right half space, you need to rely upon consistent quality and delivery. And that is something that Olise can do down to a T, my friends. I mean, look at the combination and technique when it comes to his passing selection. I mean, from dead balls, the guy always plays forward and makes things happen. His switch balls, I think he'll play more of them this season, but this guy has played some phenomenal switch balls to find guys down the opposite flank, and he ranks really high in those regards. So I wouldn't even take these numbers too serious, because how often does he get to play a switch ball? I mean, you got Mitchell on the left hand side. What's he really going to do with that realistically? But things like corner kicks, 99th percentile. incredibly dangerous in these areas, my lord. And I kind of feel like recently we don't take enough advantage from scoring goals from set pieces. Now we have a powerful defense. We need to be more productive in these areas, of course, to take advantage in game, because set pieces are always a crucial part of any big team's game. And of course, things like in-swinging corners, out-swinging, straight corners, an incredible variety of technique. He can play low-driven crosses, he can put backspin behind them, he can put goals, far post and near post, and he is a very creative player. I mean, look at his short creating actions. Like, this is such a key number, because if you have all these third-man runs inside the box, you need to find these guys with consistent quality. And Olise is someone that generates opportunities for his team, from dead ball situations, from live ball situations as well too. And he's very effective in terms of his use of possession in the final third. He's not very wasteful. And you see that in terms of how he plays the game right. You see that in terms of his ability to beat a man, that press resistance. He can outpace someone too, which is like an added benefit to a player's game. And he's comfortable playing by himself and receiving in space. I look at someone like a Hakim Ziyech. I think he's a good player, but to really unlock him, you need to have that Hakimi down that right hand side to create space for Ziyech, because he isn't explosive, and his dribbling, of course, is good in tight areas, but it's not great over distances. And this is where Olise is absolutely clear. Like, in a sense, he's a more complete Hakim Ziyech who has more to his game, more skill, more ability, and more potential to grow far into the future. Now, my friends, quickly, let's compare him to like attacking mids and wingers very quick. And of course, we know what he can do in terms of his, on the ball stuff, creativity. But I want to talk about another underrated aspect about his game. And that is, this guy is no slouch off the ball defensively. Now, that isn't something typically associated with Michael Olise, but obviously if you're going to sign for us and play at a higher level, you can't be slouching in terms of your defensive work off the ball. We know that. And us fans will call a player out if we see that happen on the field. And it's nice that Olise is also very open to this part of the game. He will drag back to help his fullback in behind. He can stay in line and shape and not be one of those guys to like disorganize the team shape. Like, he follows his roles, like he follows the tactics. He wins his tackles in the final third. You can use him when it comes to counter pressing as well too. And we know that Pochettino wants to really rely upon transitional play this season. One thing that we've missed for how many years? We're signing many excellent profiles that really excel playing this type of football. And Olise, of course, has those metrics on point, my friends. I mean, he's able to win balls against his wing backs, against his fullbacks. Like, he's not scared to close the spaces down to win that tackle. His interceptions are there. Tackling and interceptions too, 88th percentile. That's decent for someone his age down the right hand side, especially with all that creative responsibility at Crystal Palace. But it's nice to see that he's winning his tackles and the defensive third, as I'm saying, tracking back to help support the team. Attacking third, he can definitely improve. But again, Crystal Palace, they're not a high pressing team, are they? We have to remember that detail. But in the middle third, we use a mid-block structure off the ball where we protect ourselves in the central areas. I want to see him ranking high, right? I want to see him ranking particularly high in these areas. So, my friends, I think for this bargain fee of £35 million, we are signing a talent whose value will exponentially rise over the next few years. Once he comes back and starts playing football, at the early month of October, we're adding new firepower, creativity, and dimensions to our team. And, I think this guy is a phenomenal player, really big business, and we keep making the right decisions in the market, and it's very rare that we've got so many decisions in the market like on point. And I think Olise really reflects this. So, my friends, I think I was enjoying talking about Olise so much. I just kind of felt like maybe it isn't worth discussing exits. We kind of know the updates surrounding that right now. And once they actually happen, then it's more worthwhile discussing. So, my friends, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lines TV. There's going to be more videos out today, my friends. So don't go nowhere, yeah? I'll catch you guys very soon. Cool.